Hello, students. I was always interested in photography. It was very, I can actually think back on till I was a 7-year-old when I started taking pictures with a Brownie camera, with a Kodak camera. I didn't actually take any serious photographs until actually I was out of graduate school, if that sounds strange. But during those intervening years, I had very little money to buy equipment, and so I used a few cameras borrowed here and there. But really, my desire was to eventually get a really good camera. So I put $25 a month on a camera, and eventually got my camera. I was very interested in outdoor photography. When I was a graduate student, I did a lot of hiking and mountain climbing, rock climbing, things like that. And so the outdoors have really been a theme for me my whole life. But I never really got to do it until I was in graduate school. Before that, I had actually traveled almost none. So anyway, I went on a trip to the Olympic Peninsula, took this particular picture, and I took it with Kodachrome film, which was really the best film that you could get to take photographs in those days. And I got this picture. This is one of the 2 pictures that I took on that trip that really decided me to really pay attention to photography. So this picture I've won numerous awards for. Here it is a JPEG, but the original one, of course, was in film. And then I took another picture on this one, which was this particular mountain goat. He was about maybe 15 feet away from me. I had a very small camera lens, and he was pretty big, actually. He probably weighed about 600 pounds. So I was very glad when he followed around me but didn't run after me. So those were the 2 pictures that actually kind of solidified my thinking that doing photography would really be an interesting kind of thing to do with my life. Now, could I do anything with it seriously economically at this point? Well, it turned out that yes, I was actually able to sell these prints to one of the some of the artistic and nature stores in the Palo Alto and Mountain View area and Menlo Park. So I actually did make some money off of these. I think I may have paid off the camera. That's possible. But it takes a long time to get there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I actually take pictures of all different kinds of them. This particular camera here, or photograph here, was nearby home. I've sold a lot of these. It's the courthouse up here in Auburn, a long ways south of where you guys are. But I've sold many, many copies of this picture. It's probably my most, I've probably sold this one more than any of my other images. It was a fluke picture, by the way. This goes back to one of my principles that I'll suggest to you, is that you should always carry a camera. So this one, when I was sitting at a parade, the parade is to my left here, and I turned and looked just sideways, and I saw this particular lighting condition on the courthouse. I fortunately had a very small pocket tripod, which I put underneath the camera, put it on a stone wall, and took one shot of this. So again, this is as I said, one of the ones that I've sold the most overall. So then I went off into do mountain pictures and things like that, and I'll talk a little bit about just a little bit about that. I was very intrigued by digital cameras, which I started working with in the year 2002, probably when you guys were just getting started at home. In any case, this picture was actually a join of 3 individual images. And to take an image like this with a traditional camera is impossible, because it's never easy or almost impossible to join pictures together in such a way that you actually have a larger, say, panoramic picture, which is what this one is. One of the other things that I got very interested in, which really drove me to digital cameras, was this particular picture. I shot this picture in a small village in France with a very small camera. I had only 2 megapixels in it. By today's standard, that's a very small, primitive camera. And this is what the picture looked like when I took the picture. Very early in the morning, and the sky is quite shaded. And this is how it looks. So I opened up Photoshop Elements. I got a copy of it because I knew I needed to do some sort of editing. And I changed it into this picture. So you'll notice that the picture is now has the blue looks proper and as reflected in the windows. And this picture is gorgeous. I still sell this at 2 megapixels. It was one of the things that really sealed the deal for me on digital cameras. After about another month or two, I actually sold all of my 35 millimeter equipment at a very good price because I knew that within 3 years, those cameras would be useless and no one would be using them again. So I was very fortunate in doing that. So now I think what I'll do is I'll come back to questions. Do I have any language barriers where I go? Well, I can only speak two languages. I speak German and I speak, as you see me here, a normal old kind of American kid. So I have not actually run into too many language barriers. It's the people who tend to run into these would be photographers who went into an area by themselves in an area where they don't speak the language. Not usually a good thing to try, actually. So it becomes difficult. Yes, you can do sign language, things like that. But for me, no, I've never really run into any barriers, probably because I've been too chicken to go to some places where there's no one speaking English. So that's kind of where I am on that. What is the best place that I've visited? This is actually an easy one for me, and I'll show you more pictures of it later. It happens to be a place called Tanzania in Africa. I don't know how many, you guys probably have a pretty good knowledge of the world at this point. Tanzania is in East Africa. It's on the Indian Ocean side of it's a very safe place to go. It has incredible wildlife and nature shots. You'll see some of those later in my talk. So that's my favorite one. Who inspires you to continue taking pictures? Well, I have to inspire myself, actually. Photography is not always easy. It's not always profitable. And it can take a lot of mental support for yourself to re-inspire yourself to continue what you're doing, because you will go through stages when you get no financial rewards out of what you're doing. And so your heart that's in it is the thing that actually makes you successful, because you have to have the energy to get up in the morning, take a picture of the dawn, and then come back in and go to sleep. If you just go to sleep, you'll never get those dawn pictures, and you're not going to get where you eventually want to be. So, okay, next question. Are you self-taught or went to school for photography? Well, I'm too old for going to one of those schools because they didn't exist when I started this process for me. So yes, I am self-taught. However, being self-taught means you have to search out the information and the tools in order that you can do things like get certain kinds of photographs, for example, or how to change the lighting conditions or to deal with lighting conditions changes and so forth. I will offer to you a small book that's very easy to get. I don't have mine handy, otherwise I would have shown it. But it's called the National Geographic Guide to Photography. And it's a very small book. You can actually kind of carry it around with you. And I don't know exactly how I found this book, but I think they had it in the camera store where I bought my original first camera. That book has incredible insights into how to take photographs and what kinds of equipment that you can use in lieu of the very expensive cameras that the National Geographic photographer carries. And so I highly recommend that you look at that book. It's full of technique, and they upgrade it, I think, about every 1 or 2 years. So it tends to stay on top of the way things work. I think not very many photographers even know about this book because you wouldn't run into it easily. So yes, so I am self-taught. Now, does that mean I'm completely self-taught? Well, no, I leverage a lot of thinking and a lot of my skills from the people that I've met and also people that I've learned from. But by and large, I'm by nature a person that goes out and tries to learn these things and really learn them well on my own. So hopefully that answers that question. How do you afford to travel to beautiful places? So I will give you my wife's rules of finance. So this is how you do it. Just make sure every month more money comes in than goes out. And you must do this as much as you can. And if you can avoid paying interest on anything, do it. And you will find that your money will grow over time. And when you get to perhaps an advanced age like me, basically we can go anywhere in the world. And it's a result of money, good, just intelligent money managing. And we also have a very, very good financial advisor who sticks with us and explains why we shouldn't do certain things and why we should do other things. So how about that? So let me go back. And now how do I find that again? Oh, share screen. Okay.
So that's loading. Here's some other questions that came in. So when you travel, do you travel alone?
Almost never. So what I can do now is I can talk about some of the images, and you should ask me questions about them. And also, I'm happy to talk about how I did them in some cases. So just you can write your thoughts down on it. So in a sense, I'm shifting to being an artist now. And what I'll do is I'm going to intersperse this with some of the things that you're going to need to consider yourself with, and I probably already have done this to a degree. So I kind of wrote a short set of notes on how to make or how you make money in photography. Well, first of all, it's the people that really make money at photography are generally in commercial photography, meaning that they're taking pictures of buildings, they're doing events for companies or organization, they're doing products like things that you might see in ads in a magazine that would be perhaps video if it was on TV, and you will get the most amount of money out of photography generally through commercial photography. The next best place to make money on photography is in weddings. Weddings can be very difficult to do, and there are two kinds of wedding photographers. One is where when you post your notice about yourself and your company, you agree to take pictures of weddings anywhere within a reasonable distance of where your company is. What this means is you're going to be in all different kinds of locations. You have to have a lot of lighting equipment and things that will help you lay out your wedding. For example, if you were doing a wedding in the street here in Amsterdam, you have to fly there, bring your stuff, do whatever it is, and people do that. For myself, I don't specifically tell people that I'm a photographer who specializes in weddings. But there are ways to do this in such a way that a lot of the risk and cost goes away. The first one is you go through a application. There are several of these on the internet, by the way. And they say this one's called Thumbtack. And in there, what you do is you post what you need for a project, and a project in this case would be a wedding. And then you describe what you want your wedding to be, and then you just send it to the application, and then it will search out photographers in your region that have the capabilities to take a wedding, for example, here in Amsterdam, if that was the wedding location. So there are ways to get into the business without having a lot of overhead, and also it feeds you people who want your services, and this is actually fairly important, and it's a really emerging area within all services. So anyway, so that's out there, and then you have art photography, which is what everybody wants to do. This is an art photograph. This is also an art photograph. And the question is can you make money off of these photographs? Well, it's very, very difficult. There are more photographers out there than you can shake a stick at. For example, my photographs are at a website called Photo Shelter, and there are 60,000 photographers listed in that hosting area for photographs. So it's a very competitive business. It's very difficult to make money at, but it is what most photographers love. And in many cases, people will do other kinds of photography so that they have the money to take art photographs. So anyway, that's a piece of information for you. Now, one other thing that's going to help you make money in the photography world is it's all about who you know. And the people who know you and who know what you are capable of doing, they provide you with more sources of photographic sales than you probably could figure out on your own. So it's pretty important to put yourself out there. And just as a statistic for you, virtually no art photographs are sold through Facebook, almost none. All of the photographs that are sold are done through an application called LinkedIn, which is a way of linking people and their friends and business cohorts in a way that makes it very easy. And it way outweighs the amount of sales than what you'd find on Facebook. With Facebook, it's more social and in meaning. And many of those pictures never sell, not directly from Facebook anyway. So I'll talk a little bit about, weddings, for example. So this is a shot that I took at a wedding. That's the bride and groom. And what's interesting about it, this particular picture is I originally thought I would bring in a picture that showed the people in it. However, we're turning this into a movie that'll go on the internet. In that case, they do not want their pictures in this. So therefore, I have no pictures of humans pretty much in my talk today. So I just wanted to let you know that. It's not that I'm incompetent about taking pictures of people, because I'm not, but I just wanted to let you know that you're not going to see any in here. Now, this is some of this still life at it. The other place to make pretty good pictures, as I said, was in the commercial space. So I have one of our places where we actually invest our money are in places that refurbish buildings within the San Francisco area. So this is one of them, and I'm now their official photographer, and I charge them $100 an hour to take pictures of their real estate. And it's working really well for me. So I'm going to start doing more and more of this kind of artistic buildings and things like that, because it is a good source of income. And most people don't know how to take these pictures. So it's a pretty easy market, and San Francisco is pretty large. So we'll see how that works out over the longer term. One of the things that I did as well is I had to invent a product, and you can actually see the product on the screen. It's a projection screen. It fits on a camera tripod, and there's a bag there that holds a laptop, a projector screen, and all of the equipment that you need to show pictures anywhere. In particular, I wanted to do it on photo safaris in Africa, and this one folds down into 18 inches in length, and you can take it on an airplane. These are the only screens in the world. They are patented, and they are largely sold to photographers and people who want to do presentations in remote locations. And I did that because I needed one, and I couldn't find one, so I created this one with a business partner, and this is also a source of my income. So I came up with a product. And my products actually, I leveraged the design of the other company who I set up a business partnership with, and I sell all of these products through B&H Photo out of New York, which is one of the largest photo retailers in the world. So this is another place where I get income from products. Not that everyone will be able to do this. It's a sort of luck and invention that was able to pull it off. I'll talk a little bit about, why is digital photography important? If you look carefully at this picture, you'll see up here, you're going to see this piece of stone right here. Well, this piece of stone is about 800 feet tall. It is climbed by mountaineers. They come up on the top, and then they pitch a rope back across, and they get back onto the top of the mountain. This is in Yosemite, and but you'll notice that the spire is points at an angle. And the reason is because when you tilt your camera up, it sort of pulls the upper parts of the picture together. You'll always see this if you take a picture of a church or something like some tall building. You'll see that it tends to collapse in toward the center. But all of the photographic tools that are out there, the good ones, they will allow you to correct the distortion at the top of the picture. So you'll notice now that this is vertical, and the falls are actually vertical too, in the other rocks as well. Once I started seeing these kinds of potentials in digital photography, I was sold. This is another one that I took on this same trip. This particular picture, I didn't really realize it until I came home, but there were sets of power lines right across this part of the picture, right through here. And so I used some of the tools there to erase the power lines. And it makes the picture. I could have never sold it with the power lines in the picture. This particular picture is one that I use on my business card, and it's one that I really like. I took it with my first really serious digital camera. I was very pleased with the quality of the picture and its ability to capture color. And this one was really one that sold me on making sure I continued to get good and better pictures. And please don't hesitate to ask questions too.
Do you prefer taking natural lighting or studio lighting for images?
Well, natural lighting is a bit odd. So I'll explain this in terms of how your eyes work. So it turns out for the human eye, if there is a subject that's white in the area that you're looking at, it will look to you like it's white. But if you actually look at it through the camera's perspective, the color temperatures vary for white depending on whether it's in incandescent lighting, fluorescent lighting, and various kinds of lighting. But your eyes always make it look like it's white. So if you when you're doing this, you have to you basically have to watch out where you're taking pictures that have white in them. And you have to adjust the camera. Some of the cameras, you can tell it. You say, I want this for UV, I want it for whatever, and you click on it. And then when the picture comes back to you, it will look white because it is white in the sense that your eye sees it. But on film, it could be slightly pink or purple or whatever. I mean, there's various shades that come in because of the lighting conditions. So do you use natural light? Well, you're a lot safer using natural light outdoors because it's really the color. And that's how your eyes are normally adjusted. So cameras do really well on outdoors. In indoors, a lot of the times you want to use a flash on it because it will bring it up to daylight. And then the colors that you have are going to be more pure than if you just took the picture and you had, let's say, a very common, simple camera. It might have a pink coloration to it or something like that, which you then have to go into a program to try to get rid of. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Next question.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read some questions to you because I've been scanning them here, and I'll try to group them together a little bit.
Perfect.
There was a lot of questions about what inspires you and what gets you motivated to take pictures.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love the outdoors, And for whatever it's worth, I love looking at pictures. I mean, it's for me, photographs and artistic photographs are part of who I am at this point. And I love to be able to take them out. I'll do shows for people, taking them to events. They go into art studios here in the area. I have people who buy them because they've met me on a beach. I had a good example of that. I was in Hawaii, and I was taking a picture of a sunset, and fortunately, this young girl who I wanted to run through my picture because she just looked cute on the beach, but she was running the other way, and I didn't want to bother her, and I wanted her to go into my picture exactly the way it was. And so she turned around, ran into the picture, and I took a picture of her with the sunset behind her. And so, and her mother and dad were phenomenally happy with the picture, and they bought 3 copies of them, a real large one for their house, and then 2 others. So, your ability to be outdoors and interact with the people that are around you, you make friends. We have friends all over the world, just as a result of running into them on some strange place.
So in that case, were you taking pictures of them already, or you tried to sell them the picture after you took it of them?
Oh, no, I just showed them the picture after I took it, and they said, "Oh, can we have one of those?" And I said, "Sure." So I did sell it to them.
How much time do you spend taking pictures on your own for your own pleasure that you then eventually want to sell versus taking pictures because it's a wedding or it's a building or something's contracting you to do something? I mean, how much is your creative energy versus being tasked to do something?
Oh, well, probably, it's probably, 30, 70. So probably 70% of it is driven by me because it's a place I want to go to. I love taking pictures of the outdoors, and I'll show you a few more if we have time. But most of it I take for me. And actually, I had a long discussion with the IRS about this. And it was one of the reasons why they told me I needed to go and do more of those. She called them, you think of them as the dirty work, weddings, commercial stuff, things that's in general, it can be boring. Actually, I really like doing weddings, but it's most of the pictures they're outdoors. They're scenery pictures. They're going to go into somebody's home or a museum or hopefully something like that.
I have a student here that wants to ask you a question. So when you travel, do you travel alone, or do you also travel with another individual?
Oh, I will do things. I will do things alone occasionally, but most of the time those would be nearby. My wife and I are both retired, so we've been retired for 10 years, and that's part of the reason I gave you our financial measures, because then you can go and spend time doing all these things when you're retired. For right now, you will all have to live on it. So your decisions are more difficult because you're in an area where you're trying to both make money and learn. But once you get there, you can do these things. I rarely go by myself, though. I almost always have my wife she goes with me to say, no, you should go take that picture over there or whatever. And so she's very helpful and a great person, and she actually takes extremely good pictures, even though she's not interested in it.
There are several questions around how much risk do you go into taking pictures? Have you ever gotten hurt? How close were you to that lion? So tell us about sort of the adventuresome side of taking pictures.
Well, the Tanzania it's an interesting location because the national parks there have been national parks for, I think, 50 years or more. So when you go out there, there's a couple of rules. One rule is you are never allowed out of the vehicle that you're in, unless it's to go to take a break, one of those things that you have to do occasionally. But that's the only reason you can get out of your car. So you're in the car. If you get out of the car, you can easily be in danger. And so the closest that I ever had with a lion was when I was about maybe 25 feet away from a lion in one of the parks. The lion was laying not with his feet and legs laying along the ground. He was on his stomach with his arm, his basically his legs below him. And a lion can jump 26 feet in one jump. And one of the things that you can tell when you're taking pictures like this is if the animal is looking at you, they know what you are. So you don't really want them to look at you and look you in the eye. But it's nice because they actually do this. And if you went to a zoo, they never even look at you at a zoo. But in the wild, these animals look at you, and so you get tremendous portraits out of it. It looked at me in the eye, and the minute that it did, my wife also told the lady above, the lion was also looking at her. She said, "Get down and get out." So they put on the car key immediately, and away we went. And when I got back to the lodge, a good friend of ours who's been there 50 times to Africa, he says, "Well, I was getting ready to yell, but I was afraid that if I did, he might jump." So anyway, so that's the closest that I've come personally. On my last trip, I have a friend who's pretty, he's kind of independent. He goes every place and hikes by himself. And he was in the lodge we were at. They walk you to your tent because there are lions in the area, including right where you are. So anyway, so he said, "I don't want to be, that's baloney. I'm just going to go back to my tent." So he went back to his tent, and he woke up in the middle of the night. He was checking his blood pressure or blood levels. He's a diabetic. And he looks up, and this lion walks right behind his feet, beyond the mosquito netting on his tent. And it walked on by, and that was it. So yes, so you can run into things. We did have an elephant that came after our truck once. It had a baby and didn't really like the fact that we were there, and so we took off, and so that was good. But by and large, the animals, they don't pay any attention to you at all. They just go on and do their thing. The birds are amazing because they never been shot at, so you can take gorgeous pictures of the birds because they don't care about it.
What is your favorite time of day to take pictures?
Oh man, that one's hard. Sunsets are one of my favorites. So I have lots of sunset pictures for sure. And I guess it's because I'm not a morning person, so I'm not a dawn photo shooter. So I have some, yes, and some that were done, because I purposely got up early so I could do it. But by and large, I would say sunsets are probably the most themed thing because I can take those anywhere in the world, and so I do that.
Another good question. I'm kind of curious about this too. So how much of your photos sold for? Like, what was the most expensive photo you sold?
$600, and it was a photograph on commission, and they wanted a particular sunset, and the type of sunset that they were looking for was they wanted the skylight to be red, and there's only one way that you get a red sky on a sunset, and that is that the horizon has to be clear of clouds so that when it shines up underneath the clouds, it lights them up. And so I spent 2 months every night looking at the cloud conditions in the Central Valley so that I could drive down and get to the place in time to take the picture. So it took me 2 months to get the picture. And then it was a panorama, so I had to stitch something like 19 pictures together to get this photograph for him, and again, he sold it to him for $600. Actually, I was going to originally sell him at $300, but he was our financial advisor, and he said, no, you don't want to do that. You need to pay a real price.
So, what is the longest you've ever waited to take a perfect picture?
Oh man, let's see.
Like the 2 months.
Yeah, it's well, I have a picture in here I could show if I bring it up. I was in the Southwest. It's called the Golden Hour. So when you go in the Southwest, because of the red rocks and so forth, they are at prime color as the sun goes down, and it's only in the desert that you find this behavior. So I wanted to take a picture of it from the top of a bluff, and yeah, I walked all the way up the bluff. I waited there for the picture to come about, and then I took it. And that probably took me like 2 hours of, getting there and taking the picture and getting back again. So usually it's like that. Now, sometimes I'll have to get up in the middle of the night or go someplace. On this last trip, I went to the top of Haleakala, and a friend showed me how to take pictures of the stars, which I didn't actually know how to do. He's a very good photographer. He took like 6 of us up there, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to teach you how to take pictures of the stars," which was kind of cool. So that was that one was a 6-hour event to get all the way up there, take the pictures, and then come back. And it was bloody cold because it's up at 11,000 feet.
Last question from the text that came in. I'm kind of curious too. Do you use HDR?
Yes. HDR, it has a real place. Basically, when you're taking real estate shots of people's homes and outdoors, it's very important that all the details show up. And so you have to use multiple shots in order to get the lighting so that it's all even through the picture and mimics the way your eyes see it. So that's mostly where I use it, is on real estate. Occasionally, other pictures are benefit by it, but the vast majority of the ones that I take, they're real estate type of pictures. Well, I hope what I said